It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are in Signal Hill today, and guess who's here? The mayor of Signal Hill. Her name is Lori Woods. And before we start to talk about a very important issue, tell us about Signal Hill. Where is Signal Hill? Where are we today?
Well, Signal Hill is referred to as the donut hole of Long Beach.
It is.
We are right in the middle of Long Beach, surrounded completely by Long Beach. Just to the north of Signal Hill, we're right at the 405 and Cherry.
Right.
And just to the north of us is the Long Beach Airport, and everything to the south of us is we can see the ocean and actually CLA from the top of Signal Hill.
Why is Signal Hill a donut inside of Long Beach? Why isn't it just part of Long Beach?
Right. Well, because in 1921, oil was discovered in Signal Hill. It was an unincorporated part of the county. And Long Beach wasn't that old of a city itself, so it was still defining its boundaries and in its jurisdiction. And so by 1923, when oil derricks covered Signal Hill and the oil field of Long Beach, Long Beach kind of paid attention and said, "Where's all that oil barrel tax going?" So the local and showed an interest in incorporating
or annexing,
annexing Signal Hill area, unincorporated area. And so at the time, the landowners, the property owners, the oil barons at the time said, "No, we'll keep our own oil barrel tax." And so the word is that they beat Long Beach to Sacramento to file the papers by hours the same day.
Kidding?
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic. So how big is Signal Hill, square miles wise?
It's 2.2 square miles.
Okay.
Just under 12,000 residents.
Which is actually a good number considering you have 2.2 square miles. You have your own police department, a lot of great commerce. But a city of your size also needs to consider what to do in case of an emergency. Long Beach, of course, large city, probably handle those issues. But when you were elected, you thought to yourself, well, wait a sec, are we ready? So was Signal Hill ready?
Signal Hill was ready as far as the police department goes. Our emergency operations center, we just opened a brand new police station with its own dedicated EOC area. So the city was prepared, and that's what I always say. The state has a plan, the county has a plan, the city has a plan, but do you have a plan? Does your household have a plan?
And I am so glad you brought that up, because what I understand happened is once you got elected, you started looking into emergency preparedness, and you found out there were a lot of plans out there that could apply wonderfully to Signal Hill, including the American Red Cross's 21 weeks to prepare. I like it. Tell us about it.
Well, it breaks it down. For me, I've always felt that emergency preparedness was something obviously I know I needed to do for my own family, to take care of ourselves, never knowing what sources would be available and what emergency would come. But I always thought it was very daunting. So I know how people feel, that it's some huge mountain they have to climb, and I felt the same way. And then when I started researching, I found these sources that break it down to be very practical and just to make us step in that direction.
So what this is providing is what one would need in case one is cut off for 21 weeks?
Right, and recent events on the East Coast and Hurricane Katrina, the storms, the winter storms and all, it's very evident that resources are tapped immediately. As hard as police and fire and emergency services try, they will not be able to get to you potentially. And so this prepares people to be kind of hold in place, have enough food, water, shelter, emergency supplies to sustain themselves for 3 to 5 days.
And let's talk about the geography of Signal Hill. The coast is right there.
Yeah, mile and a half.
Mile and a half away.
19 blocks.
The city is called Signal Hill because it's on a hill. And one thing I learned in the wake of the tsunami in Indonesia, I don't know why this fact stuck with me, but if I see the coast pull out, run up a hill.
Exactly.
Run away from the coast and up a hill. So that means all of Long Beach, if there's a tsunami or they think there is going to be one, it's going to run up Signal Hill.
Right.
So how is Signal Hill?
And all of the South Bay is going to run up to Palos Verdes.
Exactly. So how do you manage? How are you planning for that?
We haven't directly planned for that, but my focus is to get individuals prepared, individual households and neighborhoods to prepare themselves to take care of themselves for whatever might come. That they have enough food, water, basic emergency supplies in their own households to take care of their own family and
along those lines, you have adopted this program known as Map Your Neighborhood. Another program which you adopted, which is nice, and made it your own. You branded it a Signal Hill program. Really very accessible.
Right. So
I'm enjoying this.
This is designed for an individual, for a kind of a neighborhood captain, so to speak, to get together, walks on their porch, and invite every household they can see, every front door that they can see from their front porch. Invite them over and just go through this. What are you going to do in your neighborhood? There's a DVD connected to it. They put the DVD in.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of instruction. They shut it off. Then they discuss, what are we going to do? Who's elderly in our neighborhood? Who has animals? Who has small children that may be home alone if parents are at work? Where will the children go? Who do we need to check on that's maybe dependent on an oxygen tank or something like that? So it helps them, just walks them through the steps in their own neighborhood to customize emergency preparedness for each other.
You know, it's frustrating. I mean, look, I live in the Los Angeles area. We are going to have an earthquake at some point. Okay, I admit I did buy my kit. It's like a red garbage pail for 3 days, but I haven't talked to my neighbors. I mean, what am I doing? I talk about this.
Who has heavy equipment? Who has medical training?
Why haven't I done that? I cover this issue.
Right. Well, that's why it's so. I think most people feel it's so overwhelming. I feel the same way. I felt the same way, but I found out there's these simple programs that takes an evening with your neighbors, 60 to 90 minutes, and then you have a plan. You have a plan. It's very practical and
especially you think about the elderly, because those folks, or even those that may be disabled, they're not mobile.
Right.
And so they need someone to be their eyes and ears. I mean, it's a silly little thing, but I noticed this. I went to a friend's house, and there's a sticker on the door, and the sticker says, "In this home are 2 cats and 2 dogs."
Exactly.
I mean, that's great, aside from an emergency, a fire. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, how would they know?
Right. And there's organizations that'll have like a large pill capsule that has all their medical information in it. There's a sticker on the door that can go that say, all my medical information's in this capsule in my refrigerator.
And my wife has a chronic illness, and I don't think we have a month's supply of medication. I mean, please, I mean, Lord, you're providing us with such valuable information.
Right.
Let's talk about another program. It's known as the Cert program, Community Emergency Response Team. Is that connected with Map Your Neighborhood, or is this a separate program?
No, it's a separate program. This program was started by LA County Fire years ago. It's now a nationwide program.
Oh, wow.
There are Cert teams throughout the United States, and they're people here in LA County, or we contract with LA County for our fire services here in Signal Hill.
Right.
So their program comes in, if we host the training, their firefighters, their trained will come in and teach our residents exactly what to do. It's we offer it for 3 Saturdays in a row from like 8 to 4:30. They're certified at the end. It tells them basic search and rescue techniques. Again, where all the first responders cannot get to, our Cert teams will be trained to check out their own household, check out their neighborhood, then report to a central location and give all what they found to the first responders so they can adequately spread out their resources.
I was speaking with an assemblyman named Freddie Rodriguez. He represents portions of the Inland Empire. He had been an EMT, and he is pursuing legislation which would mandate CPR training in high school. And that's what this reminds me of. I mean, again, here I go. I don't know how to do CPR.
Right. This is basic CPR. This is basic first aid. Like I said, it tells you how to search and rescue, how to properly search and triage any individuals that you may come across.
And we think about what happened in Orlando recently and how critical it was for folks that were there to help others. I mean, I think someone was saved because someone put a tourniquet on someone's leg.
Right. These are basic life-saving first aid techniques
that you need to learn.
Right. We've graduated a class of 27 here in Signal Hill just last summer, and we have a class coming up now. It already has like 25 enrolled. So my goal is to have 1 or 2 Cert-trained individuals in each neighborhood that can assess their neighborhood in a major disaster and then come and report to the police department and give a report to.
She is the mayor of the beautiful city of Signal Hill. That's where we are today. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Charter Local Edition.